Hey you guys, what's going on? Jen Bocabella here, Beauty No Filter. In today's video, I thought it would be fun to do a side-by-side showing you how different your makeup performs when you switch up your tools and your techniques. I just put out a video that helped women troubleshoot why they might not be happy with their makeup. That is a very common message that I get from women, that they need help with their makeup, they're just not happy with it. And my number one response to women who are not happy with their makeup is, one, switch out the tools that you're using, and two, switch up the technique. So in this video, I show you side by side the difference that different tools and different techniques make in how your makeup performs. Now, I am not saying that there is a right or a wrong way to do makeup. I'm just saying there's a different way to do makeup. If you are somebody who is bored with your makeup, not happy with the way your makeup looks, keep watching this video for some tips and tricks on how to switch up your tools and how to switch up your techniques. So the first thing I'm going to start with is contour. I do have my foundation on. I wasn't going to include foundation in this because I just feel like foundation is foundation. The camera's not going to pick up a difference between me using this brush or this sponge. It's a damp beauty blender. So I wasn't originally going to include this in the video, but as I was doing my foundation, I got the idea that I was going to use the foundation to cover my under eye, because I do think that that's a common technique that women use when doing their makeup. They don't bother with a concealer. They just come in with their foundation and use that to cover their entire face. So this side is going to be the okay side. This side is going to be the better side, or the side that I normally would do. I'm going to come in with contour on my better side, and I'm going to use a cream contour stick, and I'm going to use it on my actual cheekbone right there and outline my forehead. I'm going to come in with a damp beauty blender to blend that in. Okay, and then on this side, what I'm going to do is use a powder with a fluffy brush. I'm going to go below my cheekbone a little bit, because that is the, I'll say old technique, because I know a lot of people now are starting to use it on their actual cheekbones to make your face look a little bit more lifted. So this is a technique that is commonly used, but I think people are starting to slowly transition away from it. Now let's come into blush. So for the better side, I'm going to use this brush, which I always use. If you can see the bristles, it's got a little give to it. It's a little bit smaller of a surface on this brush. I want it to be right where I put it, so a smaller brush is going to help do that. You don't want to go too small, and you don't want to go with a tight brush that doesn't have much give to the bristles like this. Side by side, you could see the bristles kind of expand on this one. They're a little bit more fluffy, whereas these are really tight, dense, and they have hardly any give to it. So for this side, because I did the contour on my cheekbone, I'm going to do the blush just a little bit higher than the contour, even overlapping the contour a little bit. Still staying on the cheekbone though. Now on this side, I'm going to come into a tighter brush like this guy right here. Same thing. And now look at the difference in the darkness of it. I mean, that's pretty intense on this cheek. It's more opaque. Which is, if you're going for that, then that's great. Definitely use a tighter brush. The whole point of this is just to show you the difference. Even a small difference like this, what a difference it can make. So here, putting on the blush came out a little bit stronger than on this side, where the blush came out a little bit lighter and more diffused. Okay, next we're going to conceal. Now remember, I'm not concealing on this side because I already put my foundation over that. So I'm going to color correct on my better side, get rid of the blue purple tint. And I'm going to prime my eyes with this too, because my eyelids do have discoloration, and when I go to put my eyeshadow on, I don't want it to mess with the shadow color. Coming into my damp beauty blender to blend that in. I am going to use a little brightener on this side. I'm going to go a little bit lighter, concentrating on these two areas. but I'm doing it after I've already color corrected and got rid of that blue purple color. All right, so there's that so far. Now let's come into the eyeshadow. Notice I did not prime this eye. I don't think the camera's really gonna pick up the big difference between the pigment and the performance of the eyeshadow, but I know that a lot of women don't like to prime their eyes, so I'm just gonna stick with that. So on the better side, I'm gonna come in with my fluffy brush that you guys know I love to use. Now, the difference between the two eyes, the biggest difference is with this one, I'm gonna come in and gradually build the color to where I want it, which does take a little bit more time, but you'll see the difference in the result. Starting in the crease, and I'm just gonna slowly work my way up. I'm coming into this brown right here. It's just a warm nutmeg kind of brown. It's a perfect transition color. Focusing right in the crease and slowly coming up. I'm going to go into the next darker shade, which is this guy right here. Lightly tap that. I don't want to get the brush too heavy. Again, in the crease, but this time I'm not going to really go up with it. I'm going to stay right in the crease. Just lightly coming on my lid. Now that I've gotten the bulk of the shadow off of my brush, it's in my crease, I'm going to take what's left on that brush and come on my lid just for a light dusting. All right, now let's come into this eye using the same color. Let's come in with a smaller, more packed brush just to show you why I really like a full fluffy, it's a bigger brush, just to show you side by side what the difference is going to be. This brush comes with eyeshadow. I think a lot of people are tempted to just stick with the brush that comes with their eyeshadow, but when you are using the brush that comes with the eyeshadow, like this guy right here, notice how much smaller it is. So the surface that it's going to reach is going to be much smaller, and the color is going to be much more opaque and bold. It's not going to be as diffused as when I use this big fluffy guy. Now look at the difference between the two. Right? So I'm going to come into that same color, that warm nutmeggy brown, but using this brush. And now this time, I'm not going to gradually build the intensity that I want. I'm going to come in already trying to go at that intensity that I know I want. Like I know what I want. So I'm just going to come in with my brush loaded, so I only have to do it in one application. I don't have to keep slowly adding more and adding more. I'm just going to come in with this little brush and give it the intensity I want. Bam. Done. See how quick that was? I'm going to do the same thing with that darker brown. Same brush. I'm going to come into the crease. And then lightly dust my lid. Now, I'm not trying to sabotage this side. I'm not trying to make it worse. I'm just trying to show you very commonly used techniques and tools so you can see the difference side by side. All right, so there's that. Totally different in blending. Now I'm going to come into a blending brush. This brush has absolutely no color on it, and I'm going to blend those two together. I'm not going to bother blending this. I already blended it with the brush that I was using, which I think is what a lot of women do. And I will tell you that majority of the time I spend on clients is freaking blending. If you let me have enough time, I will probably spend, it takes me about an hour to do somebody's face. I would say like half hour to 45 minutes of that time is just blending everything out. I don't think women take the time to blend things as much as they should. And that's where you see a really big difference between the makeup applications, is the amount of blending that you're doing. Now this next technique is for the liner. On the better side, I'm going to use the liner that I typically use, which is coming in with a sharp pencil. This guy right here. It's very tight, very skinny, so I can get a nice tight line to my lash line. And I'm going to use a black eyeshadow as my liner. Load that brush up You can see I'm getting both sides of it. And now just really tight to my lash line. I need a mirror really close for this. Staying really close to my lash line. I'm going to slowly and gently apply this black shadow. I know I've mentioned this in my video where I show you how to put eyeliner on somebody else. It's especially helpful for moms and dads of cheerleaders or dancers when you need to get them ready for their recitals or competitions and they need eyeliner on. What I had mentioned in that video is when it comes to eyeliner, the point is not to see the eyeliner. You just want that eyeliner to kind of outline your eye so that your eye stands out a little bit more. So when somebody looks in my eye, I don't want them to see this liner. So now that's a nice soft line. On this side, I'm going to come in with the commonly used black pencil, and I'm just going to do it. I mean, the whole point of eyeliner is to see it, right? Ooh. Try not to blink when you're applying it. All right, and now I think winged liner is still in, so I'm just gonna go for it. I will tell you this, winged liner doesn't work as well on somebody who has really deep inset eyes like I do. It just doesn't. Winged liner looks phenomenal on somebody with a monolid, but somebody with a really deep inset, it just doesn't show as well. And now on this side, I'm going to add a little bit of shadow under my lashes. I'm going to come into that warm brown I used on my transition color. I'm going to use a pencil brush, so it's going to be a little bit more precise, but it's also got some give to it, so it's going to diffuse the color a little bit and just come under here. You're helping to reshape your eyes, so you don't want to come in too heavy. I don't want people to notice that color. I just want it to kind of flow with everything else that's going on around my eye. Now for the lower lash line, same thing. I'm going to come into this brush and use a shadow to line my lower lash line, staying really close to my lashes. I'm going to come back to that brush that I used to put that color and blend the two together. I don't want any harsh lines on this side. And now for this side, I'm not going to take the time to add any shadow on my lower line. I'm just going to come in with that black pencil and line it. I'm not blending it. I'm just lining my lower lash line as normal. All right, next I'm going to come into eyebrow. And I say eyebrow because I'm only going to do the one eyebrow. I'm not going to do both because I know that a lot of women like to neglect their eyebrows. So I'm going to show you side by side what a difference it makes. I am using the spoolie to kind of smudge out the pencil. I love these pencils because they're skinny enough to mimic actual hair. And they come with a spoolie, so I can brush the hair out of the way while I shape my brow. I don't have to grab a totally separate spoolie. And they are self-sharpening, where you just have to twist it up rather than having to sharpen it and get the shavings all over the place. That eyebrow is done. I'm going to neglect this eyebrow on purpose because I think a lot of women neglect their brows. They just think that their eyebrows are nice enough, or they just don't care. It's one less step. They can get out the door quicker, but as you can see, it makes a difference. Can't stress this enough. Stop neglecting your eyebrows. Okay, so let's come into mascara. Now, it's important when you're picking out your mascara to know what your lash type is and what type of mascara you need. My lashes are long, but they're not very voluminous or thick. So when I'm picking out a mascara, I really need to pick out a voluminous one, a volumizing mascara. And I think that's why I didn't really like the Thrive Cosmetics mascara, because the wand on that is really for women who have a lot of lashes, but they aren't very long. I think the Thrive is actually a lengthening mascara, and it doesn't work for me. I've already got the length. I need a mascara that's going to help give me volume. So I'm going to come in with this mascara here. As you can see, the wand is way thinner and the bristles are just hardly even there, honestly. They're very small and very separated. I'm going to come in on this eye and use this wand, which is not the best for my lashes. All right. I have this wand, by the way, if you're wondering why I even have this mascara. I have this wand because I love this for my lower lash line. So I'm going to do these lashes. And what you'll also notice on this side, because I'm one, not using the right mascara, and two, I did a really heavy pencil on my liner, you can't even really see my lashes. So yeah. All right, so on this side, on my better side, I'm going to come in with a volumizing mascara. And because my liner is much thinner on this side, I really stuck as close as I could to my lash line. You can see my lashes better. Look at the difference. I'm going to come to my lower lash line as I normally would with my much smaller wand. So I'm going to come into my lengthening one, which is much smaller, to get in really tight on my lower lashes. And I actually have a couple wands like this. Here we go. Here's a good side-by-side example, and I'm going to use the Thrive Cosmetics mascara that I still have, and just show you the difference between the two wands. So here, this is Kat Von D, Go Big or Go Home. Love this mascara. Very volumizing. And then the Thrive. Look at the difference in the brushes, in the wands. This is for volumizing, the Kat Von D, and then the Thrive is definitely for lengthening. So it's very important that you know what your lashes are and know which mascara you need for your lashes to really get the biggest impact. So for the last step, I'm going to do lips. Now on the better side, I'm going to use a lip liner and I'm going to slightly overdraw my lips. And on this side, I'm not going to use a liner. I think a lot of women skip the liner because it's, you know, it's just one less step. Like you've got shit to do. You don't have time to be lining your lips. But I just want to show you the difference in the results when you switch up your technique. So on this side, I'm going to come in with a pencil and slightly overdraw my lips. Okay, another thing I like to do when I'm using a lip liner is come in. This is a new technique that I just started using. Fill in the corner of my lip. So it's darker and it looks like it's more set back. It's going to give my lips some dimension, especially if this part of my lip is lighter. It's going to look like my lips are coming out a little bit more. So now I'm coming into a liquid lipstick. And I'm going to use it on both sides and show you the difference between overlining your lips and using a lip liner and not using one. I know you can see the difference. This side does not look overdrawn, it just looks fuller. Again, I just want to stress that this is not saying that one side is right and one side is wrong, not saying that what you're doing is wrong. I'm just saying if you're not happy with your makeup, try switching up your tools and try switching up your technique. So you'll see on this side, I went in heavy. I knew what darkness I wanted, so I just went in with it. I went in with the smaller brush. It's definitely darker, whereas this has a nice gradual fade to it. I also think this side of my face looks like it's a little bit lower, whereas this looks a little bit lifted and brighter. But yeah, you'll have to let me know what you think below. If you're using any of these techniques, or maybe you're using a technique that I didn't even use that works really well for you, make sure you comment below because I'd love to know. I'm always looking to use different techniques. That is why I watch other makeup artists just to see what they're doing. Trends do change, and I'm not really a trendy person, but I do like to explore my options and step out of my comfort zone and switch things up every now and then. So things like the contour, I for a long time was doing the below the cheekbone and using a powder, and now I've kind of switched it up. I'm using a cream concealer. I'm using it right on my cheekbone to lift my face a little bit more. So switching up your techniques and your tools is definitely a good thing. Again, if you are not happy with your makeup, switch up your tools, switch up your techniques. If you guys have any questions or comments, please post them below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, if you learned anything new. Share the video with anybody you think might also enjoy this, but I hope you guys are having a great day and I'll see you all soon. Ciao, Bellas.